All right, the last layer is the workplace, where you work, your job. This is the most important one or the most impactful layer on your life because it's where you spend most of your working day. Could be school if you're a kid, still if you're still a student, so your job, your school, wherever it is, you're spending most of your day. So we've discussed this a bit in the form personality layer and the other layers as well. So it's pretty simple, pretty short here. Basically, where you work, the environment, and the people you work with. Are they negative? Are they bringing you down? Are they putting you down? Are they inspiring? It's very hard to get a good job, honestly, to get a job that's inspiring, that is not so demanding, because nowadays the jobs demand so much out of the employees, they're literally killing you with making you work 20 hours a day and so on. I don't know about the internet being good for us because it used to be you go to work at 9 in the morning, you leave at 5 o'clock and you're done because they can't inundate you with emails 24 hours a day in a global business. So how do the people you work with affect you? How does your boss, your environment, the job, do you get paid enough? Do you feel productive? Is it a useful job? All of these things are going to affect you tremendously. So here's where there's a great challenge in breaking through this layer is the willingness to get an education in a new career and to change careers. And we've discussed this in the other layers. But that's basically something to know that your workplace is an independent layer on your life and has to be treated independently. In other words, your personality has to be worked on, form personality, your home has to be worked on, and your workplace has to be worked on, independent of the other layers. So in other words, we cannot make an excuse of, if I get a new job, I will move my home. Or when I get an education, or when I find a new hobby, I will change my job. Rather, you have to say, I'm going to change my job, so now I have to get more education or new skills, right? So it's the matter of which comes first. Don't put off changing your job or your work environment with any excuse from any other aspect of your life. This has to be, if it's a bad place, obviously, dealt with properly. The people you work with. Now, here, a lot of modern world is everyone says, you have to change because you upset me. All right. Now we go to the All is Mind work and also the Eliminating Anger and Conflict and Stress courses, these two courses. Because here we learn how to become a cloud and completely untouchable by the people we work and associate with. So we combine that work with how you deal with the people you work with. My point is this: if you're working with people who are negative or bother you or upset you in some way, don't just say they are bad, they have to change. No. You have to change in a way that they don't affect you. All right. I'll take a martial arts example. One of the trainings we do in martial arts is bang your arms, bang, 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 so many times. Why? You deaden the sensitivity, you deaden the nerves so that when you get hit, you don't feel pain. Okay, pain makes you weak. Another example is in archery. I shoot a longbow. You wear a glove on your fingers so that when you pull the string, it's not hurting your fingers. And I found that bows have different strengths. So some are easier to pull and some are harder to pull. The one that's harder to pull has more strength, more weight. It's called how many pounds of pressure it takes to pull it. But that shoots much further and more accurately because there's more power in it. So I found that I had a glove which was relatively thin, and I couldn't pull the 50-pound bow. It was painful. It was too hard to pull. I didn't have the strength to pull it. But yet, when I wore a thicker glove and there was no pain in my fingers, oh, I could pull it very easily. So it was fascinating to find through my own experience how pain actually determines your strength. And the less pain you have, the stronger you are. So, in our work on eliminating conflict, anger, and stress, in that course and the All Is Mind course, you become very strong because you're no longer feeling pain due to how other people are interacting with you. So when somebody for example, you work with people that really bother you, really irritate you, you don't have the strength to go to work in the morning. But when you work with people who are uplifting or at least pleasant and you have no problem with them, yeah, you get to go to work, no problem. You have a lot more strength. So our workplace, we have to be very careful in not putting all the blame on the other people for how they are, but to accept a responsibility. If you've looked at ethicalism, our other program, ethicalism.org, O-R-G, the first ethic is accept 100% responsibility for everything that happens in your life and every feeling you have. So when we accept the responsibility for our negative feelings at work, then we can become very strong because we no longer feel pain due to the work environment and the people we're with. Now, this is generally the case, is that your pain is self-inflicted and can be eliminated. If you work on a construction site with the jackhammer breaking concrete all day, blah, 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 okay, no, you can't deal with that. That's physical and it's going to affect you. Get another job if you can. But I'm talking about interactions, people, all right? So with the workplace, you determine how you feel with the people and the environment. Then you do the other programs and you see if you can overcome the weakness within you that allows you to be affected and therefore have problems dealing with them. So that your first step is, can I do something to make myself a better person so I'm not affected? Right away, that fixes the workplace environment. If not, then time to change jobs, change careers. All right? So, and again, then there's the work environment, just like your home. Is it very cluttered? Is it very dirty? Is there chemical smells or things like that that you need to avoid or deal with? All right? So work on your work environment, finding something that makes you feel your life has a point or a purpose, collecting the garbage, driving a garbage truck has a tremendously important purpose to the health and harmony of modern society. So don't judge the value by the type of job, because the most important job we have in modern society is the garbage collector. All you have to do is imagine the world with garbage piling up in the streets, the disease and the smell and horrible. So there's great value in somebody who drives the garbage truck and cleans the garbage or sweeps the streets, right? So think about things objectively, not in the society's determination of what is socially better than others, okay? Think of it in an objective, scientific, practical sense of how valuable your job is, and therefore you are being towards society, okay? So that's very simple. You just work on that and then change. Get new education, get a new job, change professions. Now, the form personality, we were talking about how if you're in a profession that is not suitable to your spark, to your nature, you have to change professions. Okay. So you can say that applies to workplace, but with the workplace is connected to money and the money you need to live. So it may take you 2 years to get the education you need to be able to get a job in what is the most suitable career for your nature, for your spark. In these 2 years, you can change jobs if the one you have is very unsuitable and horrible people. You can change jobs to something that is also not what is suitable to your spark, but you do it because you know that temporarily it is necessary to provide the income until you're ready to change to a totally different career. Or you can take a job that pays a lot of money so that you can accumulate a greater sum of savings for a year or 2 or 3. And with that, knowing you're doing this because this is where you can make a lot of money, which can buy you greater freedom or offer you greater opportunities in a year or 2 or 3, then you can endure a workplace that is not in great harmony because you know that it is temporary and serves a much greater purpose for the rest of your life. All right? So, workplace is not, oh, I got to be in a place that I love with people I love and all this stuff. No, no, no. It's what is suitable at the moment to provide the purpose of a job, which is money. And then purpose in life and giving you a greater value and sense of purpose. But it may not be feasible to do that today. So do what is appropriate for today in regards to your job, knowing that it leads you towards something better in a few years from now. And in the interim, do the all is mind work so that you become like what we call a cloud, so that any crap passes through you without you being affected. You can look up for the article in the video about being like a cloud on our website. And use your workplace as a training ground, as a school for you to learn and cultivate the ethics in ethicalism so that you can become a better person. For you to practice the observation of your personality that you learn about in All Is Mind and transform your being in that way, because your workplace may give you opportunity to say that this job is a 3-year training program, for example, where I can learn and refine myself based on the other courses. And then in 3 years or 5 years, I'll have made a lot of money. I'll have altered my being tremendously. And at that time, I'll be able to begin the rest of my life in a profession and a job that is inspiring, that I love. Okay? So your workplace is not something that today should be wonderful. Your workplace is something that leads you to a life that is wonderful. So it's very important. Now, I've always said, give me 5 years and I'll make anybody retire. But those 5 years, you have to be a slave to everything I tell you to do. That means you don't go on vacation, you don't go shopping for new clothes, you don't go to restaurants, you don't spend a penny other than basic survival, and you try to work 7 days a week, day and night if you can. But if you do that for 5 years, you'll probably be able to retire and never have to work again after that. So if you're 75 years old, not exactly exciting idea. But if you're 25 years old, well, why not? Still have a lot of life left after you're 30. So think about that for your workplace. It is serving a purpose to get you to where you want to the life you want to live. And you have to change to be able to enjoy and endure it without pain and suffering to get you to where you want to be. Now, with that attitude, the thick layer of workplace, even if you don't change your job or anything about it, that attitude punches all the holes you need through the layer of the workplace to allow oxygen through to the spark. Because now there is a tremendous point in my pointless job. There is a great value in this totally valueless, stupid, robotic process that any machine could do. The alteration of my being. Finally, the vehicle that I can get to the life that I've dreamed of, or even better than I've ever dreamed of. Right? So you see, the workplace is generally something people only complain about, but they don't see how to use this very thing that makes you unhappy as the vehicle to bring you happiness if you're willing to put in the time and effort to use it correctly. For example, some cars, they're keyless. You don't have to put the key in the ignition or the key in the door. So as long as you have the key in your pocket, everything works with push of a button. So if I say, here's a car, give you a present, here's a car. And you say, oh, but you need to use the key. No, not good enough for me. I need keyless. Right? So your job is the same thing. It may not be perfect now, but it's still a vehicle worth using. Okay? So make the sacrifice of something that may not be what you want and use it in a way to bring you to where you want to be. Put in the time, the effort, the sacrifice, but intentionally, consciously. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your time there. You've got to take this attitude towards workplace in conjunction with all the other work at changing your being, breaking through the layers so that new opportunities will come to you. When I was younger, in my teens, when I actually worked for somebody else, there was one company I worked at. I was 17 years old when I had that job. And I'll tell you what, every week I got no less than 2 or 3 job offers, and sometimes even offers of partnership. One of my customers offered me 10% of his company if I would come and work with him, because he liked how I worked. He liked my attitude so much that he thought, this way I'll keep you. I'll give you a share of the company. And he knew he would still make more money, in his 90% instead of 100%. So eventually, even though I stuck with that job, which was not exactly an exciting job, but it led me to opportunities that got better and better and better, because I used that job to develop my being and my personality to make me a more desirable, better person. All right? So use your workplace as your training ground until the opportunity and you're worthy of having what really inspires you for a job. Okay? So our exercise for the workplace is, we know the solution of changing jobs is not always easy or feasible. However, there's enough people who've proven that when the need arises, the solution appears. Meaning, if you're seriously working through the layers to change your life, a new job may come up out of the blue. You never know what can come to you. I have lots of stories like that. By taking the actions to break through all the layers of your being, you will find that the spark has begun to burn a bit hotter, brighter, giving you a greater desire to have a different life and making you more attractive, right? Obviously, if you're walking through the field and there's a dark, cold ember on one side of the path and there's a little fire on the other side of the path, you know where your eyes are going to go. So if you're making yourself burning a little brighter, more people are going to recognize you. I've never applied for a job in my life. My first job, I was 12 years old. It was a family friend, said his nephew has a factory, I can work in the shipping room there. And from then on, I have never applied for a job in my life. People always offering me jobs. I've never worked for anyone since I'm 19 years old. I've had my own branched out on my own and my own company since then. But still, from 12 to 19, I've had several jobs. People will come to you, all right? Jobs will come to you, all right? So now children are so imaginative and creative. They find amazing joy in a simple cardboard box or a flat soccer ball, all right? They can invent all kinds of things. And we have that same ability. It's just that it's died along with the spark. As you work through the layers and your spark gets brighter and more powerful, you will come with ideas. Your mind will, wow, what a brilliant idea. You walk down the street and you'll see something. You walk into a cafe and you'll say, boy, they are stupid how they're running this business. And you know what? If they did this and this and this differently, it would do twice as good. And then something happens as you're thinking that, and you leave the cafe and you're walking down the street and you see a shop for rent. And you think, you know what? Let me see about opening my own cafe and doing it with my ideas. All these things happen randomly, all right? That's happened to me with some of my businesses where I wasn't looking for that business. I saw a shop for rent and I thought, you know what? This kind of a business would be great in that shop. Started and made over $1 million on that company. So, anything can happen once the spark is burning brighter. Amazing the ideas you're going to get. All right. So we're going to get back that creativity and imagination and intuition that we had as a child. All right. Where it's infinite possibilities. All right. Now, you take the child who plays with a cardboard box and imagines it to be a spaceship or a vehicle. And then that kid grows up and gets the skills of being an engineer. All of a sudden, he designs a real spaceship. Maybe not all of a sudden, but you see? So we can take our creativity, apply it with the right skills and knowledge, and then build something that's really fascinating, exciting life. All right? So there you go. That's the layers of being. And if you work on it diligently, it takes time, months or a year. Little by little it grows. All right? I tell you one thing I did was really funny. I moved to a house in Colorado. It was a new house. I was just not finished. I finished building the house. So outside, and it's lucky it was winter, so there's a lot of snow. But there was the garbage pile, all the construction rubbish. And in this house, it was way out in the mountains, not in a city. I had acres and acres of land in the mountains. And there was the garbage pile, big garbage pile. I was wondering, how am I going to get rid of this? I've got to find some company with a big truck to come and take it away. Anyway, so, and I'm out in the mountains, as I say, and I heat the house with a wood stove. I've never had a wood stove. I'm a city boy, push a button and the heating comes on. So I didn't know certain things about using a wood stove, wood burning stove for heating. And I didn't know that although after the fire has burned out and it feels cold, that there could be some embers left that are still warm for a day or two. I didn't know that. So I cleaned out the ashes and I put them in a paper bag, and I put the paper bag on top of the garbage pile outside. And a couple of hours later, I've got this massive fire. It was so funny. I was like, wow, look at that. I'm not worried because it's quite far from the house and it's all snow around and there's nothing there, so nothing it can catch to. But I quickly learned that even though the embers of a fire can feel cold, there is still inside some heat. And given the right conditions, that can be fanned into hotter, 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 and burst into flames and make a huge fire. All right? So that's the principle of the layers of being. Your spark has become a cold ember to whatever degree, but it can come back. And the proof or the guarantee that it can come back is you're not dead yet. Because the only time that that spark is truly out, your body dies. So as long as you are physically alive, there is enough heat left in that spark that it can be rekindled back into a burning flame. All right? And so that's what I'm hoping you can do with the layers of being. Shaking up each of these layers to get enough oxygen to go to at least get you beginning to get your life with a little more passion and motivation. And as well, working with our other courses. The basic All is Mind, eliminating negative anger and conflicts and stress, and ethicalism. All right? Those three other programs look into combining all of them with this work, and really you will see such a difference. So what can I say? You can try this for a year. And then after a year of serious, diligent work on all these things, you can look back at yourself and you can say, I've changed a lot. I'm going to keep going. Or you can say, hasn't done a thing for me, but I've learned a few things. So what? What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain and very little to lose, because it doesn't take much time out of your day to practice all these things. Everything is done during your normal life. The worst that can happen is you'll actually make more money, because a lot of this applies to your job, your work, your business, your finances, a lot of our exercises. Your relationships will get better. You'll have less conflict, less anger, less negativity. So you have absolutely nothing to lose by trying this all for a year. Commit to a year to change yourself. And I'm not like a psychiatrist. By the way, here's a little important saying. Never take the advice of someone who will profit from your loss. Now, a psychiatrist needs you to stay sick, because if you ever get healthy, he loses a customer. A lawyer needs you to get into trouble, because if you don't get into trouble, you're not going to come back to him to sue the other guy and go to court for him to make more money and buy another BMW. But our courses, we don't do that. This is, we don't run like a business here. You just read the book, you take the course, you write in your email your questions or call in your questions. This isn't a running business, so you really have nothing to lose. All right? So I hope you will give a year of devotion to yourself to just apply what you've learned in this little course and see how it goes. It'd be really nice to see people's lives change. That's what gives me my spark. My spark, my passion is in seeing people's lives change. I love it when I hear somebody say, oh, I haven't had a relationship in 4 years, and now, I read what you said, and I changed this and that, and I found this great guy. Oh, I found this wonderful relationship. Or, oh, I have this great job, or something. That's my spark, feeds on these sort of things. All right? So, I hope you'll give it a try and ask all the questions you want, right? That's what makes the life very interesting for me and for you. Okay? Good luck.